Once upon a time, nestled in a valley surrounded by rolling green hills, there was a cheerful little village. The villagers were hard-working people who lived simple, peaceful lives. And on the hill overlooking this village, a young boy named Peter had a very important job. He was a shepherd. Every single day, from sunrise to sunset, Peter's job was to watch over the village's flock of sheep. The sheep were fluffy, gentle creatures, and they were very valuable to the villagers. Peter's task was to keep them safe from any danger, especially from the wolves that sometimes roamed the nearby forest. At first, Peter felt proud of his responsibility. He would stand tall on the hillside, staff in hand, and watch the sheep graze peacefully. He loved the feeling of the warm sun on his face and the gentle breeze that carried the scent of wildflowers. But days turned into weeks, and weeks turned into months, and every day was exactly the same. The sun would rise, the sheep would eat, the clouds would drift by, and the sun would set. The initial pride Peter felt slowly faded away, replaced with a deep, heavy feeling of boredom. The silence of the hills was deafening. The sheep were quiet companions, only making soft baa sounds. Peter felt incredibly lonely. He longed for conversation, for excitement, for anything different to happen. His heart felt empty as he sat on a rock, watching the same scene day after day. He would sigh heavily, feeling like the most solitary boy in the entire world. One particularly long and quiet afternoon, Peter was lying on his back, watching the clouds drift across the endless blue sky. He was so bored that he felt his mind going numb. "Nothing ever happens here," he mumbled to himself, feeling a wave of frustration. He sat up and looked down at the village below. He could see the villagers bustling about their daily chores, the baker carrying a tray of fresh bread, the blacksmith hammering on his anvil, women washing clothes by the river. They all seemed so busy and connected. A pang of jealousy hit him. He wanted them to notice him. He wanted, just for a moment, to be the center of attention. And then, a wicked little idea sparked in his mind. It was a mischievous, thrilling thought. What if he pretended there was a wolf? His heart began to beat a little faster. He felt a small thrill of excitement at the thought. He knew it was wrong. A little voice in his head told him not to do it, that it was a lie. But the feeling of boredom and loneliness was so strong that it pushed the voice of reason away. He imagined the villagers all running up the hill, shouting his name. He would be important. The thought made him feel a rush of mischievous delight. Taking a deep breath, he stood up, cupped his hands around his mouth, and shouted down to the village with all his might. His voice was filled with fake panic. "Wolf! Wolf! There's a wolf attacking the sheep! Help!" Down in the village, everything stopped. The villagers heard the desperate cry. They felt a surge of panic and fear. Without a second thought, they dropped their tools, their bread, and their laundry. Their only thought was to save the boy and their precious sheep. They grabbed pitchforks, shovels, and anything they could use as a weapon and started running up the hill as fast as they could. They arrived at the top, out of breath, their hearts pounding with anxiety. They looked around wildly, ready to fight. But they saw no wolf. They only saw Peter, standing by a tree, trying very hard not to laugh. "Peter, where is it? Where is the wolf?" Peter couldn't hold it in any longer. He burst out laughing. It was a loud, unrestrained laugh. He felt a surge of power and amusement. It had worked. Everyone had come running just for him. "There is no wolf. I was just joking. You should have seen your faces." The villagers stared at him, their initial worry turning into confusion and then into annoyance. They had left their important work and rushed up a steep hill, all for a silly joke. they felt frustrated and a little foolish. "That is not a funny joke, Peter. We were worried. Do not cry wolf when there is no wolf." The villagers grumbled as they walked down the hill, shaking their heads. Peter watched them go, his laughter fading. For a moment, he felt a tiny knot of guilt in his stomach, but he quickly pushed it away. The feeling of being the center of attention had been too exciting to regret. A few days later, the excitement from his first prank had worn off. The heavy blanket of boredom and loneliness settled over Peter once again, feeling even heavier than before. He missed the feeling of everyone's attention on him. He craved that thrill again. Maybe just one more time, he thought to himself, a familiar feeling of mischief bubbling up inside him. He convinced himself it would be just as funny as the first time. So he took an even deeper breath and shouted, his voice sounding even more desperate than before. "Wolf! Wolf! It's a real wolf this time! It's big and it's going to eat all the sheep! Help!"
Down in the village, the people heard his cries again. This time, they felt hesitant. They remembered his last trick. But what if it was real this time? The thought made them feel uneasy. They couldn't risk their sheep. So, with a collective sigh of frustration, they once again dropped everything and ran up the hill. They arrived to find the same scene. No wolf, just Peter, laughing even harder than before. But this time, the villagers did not feel foolish. They felt furious. Their faces were red with anger. "You did it again, Peter. You lied to us again. We will not be fooled by you a third time." "Shame on you, boy! Lying is a wicked thing to do. We have work to do and lives to live. We cannot come running every time you feel bored." The villagers scolded him with sharp, angry words. Peter's laughter died in his throat. He felt a hot flush of shame creep up his neck. He hadn't expected them to be this angry. He watched them storm back down the hill, their backs stiff with indignation. This time, the feeling of guilt was much stronger, and it was mixed with a new, uncomfortable feeling of fear of their anger. In the days that followed, Peter learned the true meaning of being alone. When he brought the sheep down to the village in the evenings, no one would look at him. The baker, who used to give him a warm smile, now turned his back. The children, who used to wave at him, now ran away. The villagers' silence was a heavy, suffocating blanket. Peter felt a deep, aching regret. The excitement he had felt was gone, replaced by a profound sadness. He was more lonely now than he had ever been before. He had wanted attention, but what he got was isolation. He finally understood that he had broken something very precious, the villagers' trust. He tried to be a good, responsible shepherd, watching his sheep diligently, but the joy was gone. He just felt empty. One late afternoon, as the sun began to dip below the hills, casting long, eerie shadows across the field, Peter felt a strange chill in the air. The sheep suddenly became restless. They stopped grazing and huddled together, bleating nervously. Peter stood up, his heart starting to beat faster with a new kind of fear. He scanned the edge of the forest, and then he saw it. At first, it was just a dark shape moving in the shadows. Then, two glowing yellow eyes fixed on the flock of sheep. A low, menacing growl echoed across the silent hill. It was a wolf, a real, large, and hungry wolf. Peter's blood ran cold. All the color drained from his face. This wasn't a game. This wasn't a joke. This was real danger. He was filled with a pure, paralyzing terror that he had never felt before. His legs felt like they were made of jelly.
Forcing air into his lungs, Peter screamed. It wasn't a mischievous shout. It was a real, desperate cry, choked with panic and terror. "Wolf! Wolf! Please help me! It's a real wolf! I'm not lying this time! Wolf!" Down in the village, the villagers heard his cries, but they didn't stop their work. They just glanced at each other and shook their heads, their faces filled with annoyance and disbelief. "There goes that boy again. He's trying to trick us for a third time. He won't fool us this time. Let him cry all he wants. We have learned our lesson." They ignored his pleas, believing it was just another lie. Up on the hill, Peter screamed again and again, his voice growing hoarse. He felt a wave of utter despair wash over him as he realized no one was coming. He was completely alone. He watched in horror as the wolf leapt into the flock. The sheep scattered, bleating in terror. Peter felt completely helpless. He was just a boy, and he could do nothing against the powerful predator. He could only watch the wolf chase down his sheep one by one and disappeared back into the dark forest. When the attack was over, a deafening silence fell upon the hill. The wolf was gone, and so were many of the sheep. The few that remained were huddled together, trembling. Peter slowly sank to his knees on the empty hillside. The reality of what had happened crashed down on him. He felt a crushing weight of devastation and heartbreak. It was all his fault. His lies had cost him everything. He wasn't feeling mischievous or powerful now. He just felt an overwhelming, soul-crushing remorse. He began to sob, not loud, attention-seeking cries, but quiet, broken sobs of a boy who had learned a terrible lesson far too late. That evening, Peter returned to the village with only a few remaining sheep, his face stained with tears. When the villagers learned the truth, they were not angry anymore. They just felt a great sadness for the boy and for their lost flock. Peter had finally told the truth, but no one was there to hear it. The moral of the story is, a liar will not be believed even when they speak the truth. Trust once broken is very hard to regain, and the consequences of lying can be far more terrible than we can ever imagine.
Thank you for joining us for this timeless story. We hope it serves as a gentle reminder for us all. Have a wonderful day, and remember to subscribe to our channel for more stories that make you think. Goodbye for now.